Hi, this is Cliff from Louisiana.
Cliff from Louisiana. What is on your mind, Cliff?
I just want to say that I am disappointed because of the reaction to Bill Burr's having gone to the comedy festival. I would like to clarify that I understand why people are upset, but I feel as though this is mostly performative outrage, which how do I say? I'm sorry, I'm freezing up a little bit.
No, all right. So wait a sec. So you think that the response to the comedians going to Riyadh is overblown?
In large part, yes.
I mean, look, I don't think we have talked about it on the program. I don't think we care. I do think that, like, look, there's these guys wanted the money. They wanted the trip. You know, it would be interesting to go to Riyadh. It also is like a lot of times they feel like, there's no, implications to the choices they make. I think you could make an argument like this country, we just blew up a boat full of random Venezuelans over the weekend, supposedly. We certainly blew up a couple of in the past.
We're helping commit genocide.
Yeah. I mean, so I think there's a legitimate argument like maybe I shouldn't go to the Kansas City Comedy Festival or whatever.
And if I could quickly add, how can we be outraged at comedians for performing in Riyadh if we're not going to also cancel every other entertainment industry that is also participating in this greenwashing?
Well, look, I would also say,
we can't give them money and then be mad at comedians for taking them money.
I think, listen, I don't know who's outraged by it, but I do think that, like,
other
you
comedians
also
who didn't get booked.
Yeah, but I think
Cross is righteous. I think.
Two things
Lots
can
of
be
gamers who will not stop playing Madden or FIFA after the acquisition.
Okay, listen. I think there's two things that can be true. One is that there is some type of like justifiable grounds to say like it's hypocritical to single out people in this instance, and the other is from the individual perspective, like they still gotta own it. Yeah. I mean, look, here. I mean, and I don't think it's that big of a deal, which is why we haven't really gone into it at all, or at least I haven't gone into it at all. But there are ads, just as an analogy. There are ads that we won't do on this show because we think they're gross, or we think the industry is gross, or whatever. Okay, because it makes me feel dirty. Maybe there's other places that do those ads, and there's other places that don't do any ads whatsoever because it makes them feel dirty. And all along that spectrum, people have to be able to justify it to themselves and to their audience. And if their audience doesn't care, or some of them don't care, then they don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
will
the
just
thing. Like,
let me just say that I do think that the hypocrisy of it is difficult for people to stomach. And I think it's more about the way that the art form, I guess, of like or brand of like American stand-up comedy and what it's been weaponized to do over the past, say, 4 or 5 years, which has been specifically through podcast mediums to launder right-wing ideology and what billionaires want to do on Joe Rogan, or this anti-trans agenda with that whole sphere. Like, it's the ultimate, I think, encapsulation of how corrupted and financialized parts of entertainment have become. What? And for that, well, what?
I mean, entertainment's always been financialized, but the point is, these are also, a lot of these people have gone around and made their entire brand about free speech.
Free speech.
They commodified it for their marketing, and then they go take a huge bag from Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, it's not honorable.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Well, no, of
but
course
in
not.
terms
Of
of
course
the
not.
the hypocrisy of, like, I don't like the Islamophobic undertones that you're probably referring to, where there's a lot of people who feel like they can now take some sort of morally justified stance. And a lot of those folks who are outraged about this have said nothing about the genocide in Palestine or
Exactly.
like what our government is doing. And so for the outrage that you're speaking about on the internet, the reaction to it, I get it. It's annoying. But I do think that
It's
they're
so unprincipled.
yeah, but I think that they
Not for
I
this
disagree.
audience.
but we can hold two things in our mind.
No,
at the
right, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It makes sense for us. Like, I can stand the outrage. What bothers me is all of these people that I know genuinely do not care. And if we were all on the same page, this would not be the pervasive problem that it is.
Well, I mean,
We
look,
wouldn't be
maybe that's just a
taking
function of who
Saudi
you're
money
hanging
for
out with.
greenwashing.
Maybe that's hanging out with. But I mean, look, there are some things that are absolutely true. This is a comedy festival put on by a very oppressive regime. It's not the same as Kansas City doing it, with all due respect to Kansas City. I'm not going to, but like, it's not, it's not a private function that's going on there. They all signed contracts that show that they were perfectly willing to be censored,
Right.
even if it wasn't their material, even if they didn't have to censor it. They were agreed to get paid all this money by a censorious government that is censoring them, even if it did not their standard stuff. That was the genesis of the real hypocrisy. That people were calling out, because a lot of these people basically rode this sort of wave of, I can't talk about trans people now. They literally never had to sign a document that said they couldn't talk about trans people.
And apparently that's
they were
what-
having to just be responsive to the audience.
Yep.
In this instance, they're literally getting paid under an explicit censorship thing, even if they didn't have any material that way, and they have no problem with it.
Yeah.
That's what is the genesis of this.
I think Dave Chappelle reporting was that he made some joke to that effect there in Riyadh. Like, I'm more free to say something here than I am at home. And that's insane to say because of...
To be fair, he was talking about making Charlie Kirk jokes, but still the same problem.
Well, but
Yeah, you're still whitewashing Saudi's free
exactly.
speech.
Like, I mean, that's part of the problem.
He's
Is that
freer
there
to
are
make
journalists...
those jokes there. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're definitely not freer to make jokes in Saudi Arabia than you
Yeah,
are in
people.
the
I've
United
seen
States.
people
Oh,
make
no,
Charlie
no, no.
Kirk jokes. People are making Kirk
The
jokes
second
here.
half of my sentence was that they may be freer to make those jokes there, and that the audience will actually be receptive. Like, people might
Yeah, but that's
actually
not-
find that funny. Or
That's, you're
something,
using
but-
the word free in a very, very loose fashion. Okay? I mean, there is no guarantee that audiences, and there's no obligation for audiences to be receptive to jokes,
No,
even
of course,
if even
of course,
and,
of course.
and so
I'm saying that
but
trans
there-
jokes are not funny to people who are intelligent, and therefore, to an audience, to a
But
normal,
that's
regular
the point.
audience,
Is these
their
people
jokes don't
said
land.
there are people in that cohort, comedians, who said that they were oppressed because they couldn't tell a trans joke without having some type of critical backlash. And then they go and are
then they
willing to do
literally-
a show with very explicit red lines. That's the problem. But I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
It's really, I guess, ultimately more about that free speech thing. But we got so far afield from it that we'd forgotten that was really the primary thing.
And I do I think it's not, that's why we haven't covered it on this show. It's not, I think, super applicable, but I do appreciate comics like Cross. I think there is some need of sort of self-regulation in some of these things.
Yes. And Stavros said something, and John Marco,
Shane Gillis turned it down.
Shane Gillis.
He said no.
Tim Dillon was going to go, and then he made a joke about they're paying me enough to look away from the slavery,
And then they
just invited
canceled
him.
it. It's pretty funny. I think Shane Gillis can afford to say no.
Oh, I think that whole flyer
lot of
could
those
afford to
guys
say
could.
no.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean,
It was a flyer of millionaires.
yeah. I don't get that. I mean, some of the Bill Burr, I don't get it. I still think it's embarrassing for them, but I'm not like, taken to the streets over it.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.